His fight scenes were famous, his talents were many, and 50 years after his death, Bruce Lee's legacy continues to inspire people around the world.
It's such a huge impact in the world. There's nowhere I can go where people don't know who he is.
Bruce Lee's death stunned many worldwide, leading to various conspiracy theories. Renowned for his martial arts skills, he turned fighting into an art form of self-expression. His unexpected passing at a young age left people in shock. Exploring the darker side of Bruce Lee's premature death reveals intriguing complications. Let's uncover the mysteries surrounding his demise and investigate the truth behind the martial arts legend. Bruce Lee's spirit never broke. Despite the high regard in which he was held, Lee's death at the young age of 32 cast a deep and lasting sadness over the world of martial arts. His death left a significant gap that people still feel today, and it also sparked numerous conversations and theories that question the official explanation of his death. These theories suggest that there might be a more complicated story behind why he died so suddenly. Lee's death didn't just mark the end of his life. It started a series of debates and theories, filled with whispers and rumors. There are tales of Lee turning to unusual methods to cope with the severe physical strain his body endured from his rigorous training routines. It is said that he used hashish as a way to lessen the pain and discomfort he often felt. While such methods might have been considered progressive or alternative approaches to healing at the time, they also contribute to the complex story of his final days. The widely accepted cause of his death was swelling of the brain, thought to be caused by an allergic reaction to a painkiller. However, this explanation does not satisfy everyone, and some continue to look deeper, driven by doubt and suspicion. Bruce Lee's ability to blend cultural influences, his philosophies on life and martial arts, and his status as a global icon made him more than just a star. He was a bridge between different worlds. His early life in Hong Kong, where he started as an actor in his father's films and stage productions, showcased his talents from a very young age. This experience in the entertainment industry, combined with his unique background and personal drive, shaped him into a figure who was not only a master of martial arts, but also a cultural pioneer. His work and his life philosophy influenced countless individuals across the globe, leaving a legacy that extends far beyond his contributions to film and martial arts. The conversations about his life and the circumstances of his death continue to inspire those who admire him to seek out their own truths and understandings. Bruce Lee's significant impact goes beyond the controversies surrounding his untimely death. He was born as Lee Junfan in 1940 in San Francisco, where his father, a Cantonese opera singer, and his Eurasian mother were touring the United States. This mixed cultural background gave him a unique perspective, blending Eastern and Western influences. From his earliest days, Bruce was immersed in the arts, making his first appearance on film as a baby in Golden Gate Girl. His father played a significant role in his early life, introducing him to the world of performing arts, which led to his first taste of fame as a young actor in Hong Kong. Bruce Lee grew up under the spotlight, and his experiences with fame and the intense demands of performing shaped him into more than just an actor or a martial artist. He became a symbol of cultural integration and excellence. His role as the lead in the play The Kid, based on the comic book character Kid Chung, helped catapult him from just another actor to a celebrated figure admired in both Asia and the West. His ability to navigate these two identities fueled his passion and shaped his views on both martial arts and life, making his story one about connecting different cultures. As Bruce Lee got older, his influence only grew. His early life, marked by performances and exposure to different cultures, paved the way for a career that was as brief as it was dazzling. He not only left a mark on the world of martial arts, but also on the broader culture by showing how someone could bridge cultural gaps through personal and professional excellence. His philosophy, influenced by his diverse background, continued to inspire those who sought to make sense of their own cultural identities. Bruce Lee appeared in an impressive 20 movies early in his career, making it seem like he was a young talent destined for great things. However, this successful start in film hid the fact that Bruce was struggling with his schoolwork. His grades were so poor that he had to transfer to St. Francis Xavier's College. At this new school, Bruce began boxing. This wasn't just a move to take up a new sport, but a way for him to focus his energy on something constructive, rather than getting into fights on the streets. Bruce was naturally inclined to fight, often getting into brawls at school. This could have been a major problem, but his parents decided to guide his fighting spirit towards martial arts instead, hoping it would teach him discipline. In 1953, Bruce was introduced to Yip Man, a respected master in the world of martial arts. But Bruce almost didn't get the chance to learn. There was a rule that only pure Chinese nationals could be trained in martial arts, and Bruce's mixed heritage made him ineligible. This rule was intended to keep the traditional Chinese martial arts within the Chinese community. Despite being initially turned away, Bruce's friend William Chung stood up for him, and Bruce was reluctantly allowed to train with Yip Man. Under Yip Man's guidance, Bruce began to control his aggression. He transformed his tendency to fight impulsively into a focus for formal martial arts competitions. This shift from street fighting to disciplined training was a significant change for Bruce, who learned not only martial arts techniques, but also how to manage his emotions and channel his energy more positively. As we look into Bruce Lee's early life and how he thought about martial arts, we see how his youth shaped him into a legend. How Bruce Lee created his own martial arts style. Bruce Lee's passion for martial arts grew quickly. By 1958, not only had he won a school-level boxing competition in Hong Kong, but he was also starting to show a level of skill and spirit in fighting that would later revolutionize the world of martial arts. The following year, perhaps to get him away from the distractions and potential troubles of Hong Kong, his parents decided to send him back to the United States. He first stayed in San Francisco with his sister Agnes, but he didn't settle there long. Soon after, he moved to Seattle to keep studying and to train further in martial arts. In Seattle, Bruce's skills in martial arts really flourished. He became so proficient that he started teaching others. It was during this time that he created his own unique style of martial arts, which he called Junfan Gung Fu. This new style was much more than just a set of fighting techniques. It was a powerful statement of Bruce's independence from the traditional rules and restrictions that had once tried to hold him back because of his mixed heritage. Bruce Lee's trip is often seen as a great success story, but it's also a story of overcoming numerous challenges. He had to deal with poor grades in school, rules that tried to exclude him from learning martial arts because he wasn't fully Chinese, and his own fiery personality. Despite these hurdles, he didn't just become famous. He transformed the challenges he faced into opportunities to grow stronger and to make a significant impact on martial arts around the world. His ability to overcome these barriers wasn't just about achieving personal success. It was about breaking down the limitations imposed by society and tradition. Bruce Lee didn't accept the status quo. He challenged it and changed it, paving the way for future generations of martial artists. His life is a reminder that personal struggles and societal challenges can be transformed into opportunities for innovation and leadership. This makes Bruce Lee's story not just about martial arts, but also about how determination and creativity can lead to profound changes. Bruce Lee's path to becoming a staple of American pop culture started quite unexpectedly. He was originally just teaching martial arts to his friends when he decided to leave university in 1964. That year, he opened his second martial arts studio in Oakland with his friend James Yim Lee. Realizing that martial arts alone might not fully support his ambitions, by 1966, he returned to acting and scored the role of Kato in the television series The Green Hornet. Produced and narrated by William Dozier, this role introduced him to audiences across America and paved the way for more acting opportunities, such as his roles in Ironside in 1967 and Marlowe in 1969. Despite gaining some fame in the United States, Bruce felt that he was not fully appreciated and often typecast. So, he decided to return to Hong Kong, aiming to leave a bigger impact on its growing film industry while continuing to teach martial arts. Once there, he started tough negotiations with leading film studios, Golden Harvest and Shaw Brothers. After much discussion, he signed a contract to star in 2 movies with Golden Harvest. These movies were incredibly successful in Hong Kong. His first film, The Big Boss, smashed box office records, propelling him to a level of fame he had never experienced before. He then starred in Fist of Fury in 1972, which broke even more records and established him as a major movie star in Asia. Bruce's return to Hong Kong turned out to be a pivotal move. He brought fresh energy to the local movie scene and showed that he could draw huge crowds. This success was a significant change from his earlier experiences in America, where his potential was recognized but not fully utilized. In Hong Kong, he was not only a star but also a symbol of the kind of international success that many local filmmakers aspired to. His ability to blend different fighting styles and cinematic techniques helped create films that appealed to local and international audiences. Bruce Lee's movie career reached new heights with films like The Way of the Dragon and Game of Death. Yet, it was Enter the Dragon, finished just before his unexpected death, that would stand as the most significant achievement of his film career. Despite being made with a small budget of only $850,000, Enter the Dragon earned over $400 million worldwide. This huge success showed just how popular Bruce Lee was around the world and highlighted his brilliant ideas in filmmaking. The movie didn't just confirm his status as an international star, it also became an iconic film, regarded as one of the best martial arts movies ever. However, Bruce Lee's sudden death just 6 days before the release of Enter the Dragon shocked the world. At the height of his career, his passing left many people stunned and full of questions that quietly spread around the world. On May 10, 1973, while working to fix some of the film's dialogue, Bruce suddenly collapsed, suffering from what appeared to be seizures and intense headaches. This was completely at odds with the powerful, untouchable character he played in his films. He was quickly taken to Hong Kong Baptist Hospital. The unexpected nature of his collapse and the puzzle surrounding his death led to widespread speculation and deep sadness about the remarkable career he might have had if he had lived longer. Bruce Lee's death was not just the end of a brilliant life, but left a lasting impact, making people wonder about all that he could have achieved if he had more time. When doctors treated Bruce Lee for a serious brain swelling condition called cerebral edema, it looked like he had made a full recovery. Later that year, in July, Bruce traveled to Hong Kong for a planned dinner with George Lazenby, an Australian actor known for playing James Bond. Bruce was considering Lazenby as a major co-star for his upcoming movie. The story gets more complex as Bruce returns to Hong Kong, where his business moves and personal life create a story of ambition and intrigue. Bruce Lee's unexpected final day. Bruce's wife, Linda, said that earlier on the day of the planned dinner, Bruce met with film producer Raymond Chow to discuss a new film project. After working together for several hours into the evening, they went to the home of Taiwanese actress Betty Ting Pei, who had worked with them on a script before. When Chow had to leave for another appointment, Bruce, who was very tired, decided to take a nap at Pei's place. Unfortunately, he slept through the dinner he was supposed to have with Lazenby. Worried about Bruce not showing up, Chow returned to Pei's apartment and found Bruce unresponsive. A doctor was called and tried for about 10 minutes to revive Bruce, but eventually had to call an ambulance. By the time Bruce was taken to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, nothing could be done, and he was declared dead upon arrival. The official cause of death was described as a tragic accident. Donald Tier, a forensic scientist recommended by Scotland Yard, who had performed over 1,000 autopsies, said that Bruce's death was due to a bad reaction between his medical condition and the medication he was taking, which made his brain swelling worse, increasing from 49.4 to 55.6 ounces. This significant swelling surprised many medical experts. However, the sudden news of Bruce Lee's death led to widespread mourning and a lot of wild guesses about what had happened. Since his death occurred under unclear conditions, many people started coming up with conspiracy theories. Everyone was trying to figure out how someone as dynamic and seemingly fit as Bruce could die so unexpectedly. Some of the theories suggested foul play, while others proposed more bizarre reasons, like curses related to martial arts. Despite all the speculation and discussions, the exact details of his death remain unclear, leaving his fans and the public to wonder about the real cause. On the day he died, Bruce Lee had taken medications, including aspirin and meprobamate, a commonly used tranquilizer. Although these illegal substances were part of his usual medication, on that day they were suspected of playing a role in his sudden death. There was also talk about Bruce heavily using cannabis before his death, but this was debunked by Terry, a forensic scientist who found no evidence of cannabis in Bruce's stomach. This finding was also confirmed by a clinical pathologist at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, which helped dispel some initial doubts about the cause of his death. Years later, in 2018, Matthew Polly, an author who investigated Bruce Lee's death, introduced a new perspective. He spoke with medical experts who believed that a combination of heat stroke and extreme physical activity could have caused Bruce's death by cerebral edema. Interestingly, Bruce had had surgery to remove his underarm sweat glands the year before he died because he thought underarm sweat looked bad on camera. Polly argued that this cosmetic surgery might have interfered with Bruce's natural ability to cool down, which was especially dangerous considering the hot climate of Hong Kong and his intense workout sessions for film roles. Further analysis came in 2022 when an article in the Critical Kidney Journal suggested that Bruce might have died from hyponatremia, a condition where the body has very low sodium levels. The article pointed out several factors that could have contributed to this condition. Bruce drank a lot of water, did not eat enough foods with essential nutrients, and possibly drank too much alcohol or used illegal substances that affected how his kidneys processed fluids. These factors suggested that Bruce was pushing his body too hard, which might have set off a series of health issues he couldn't recover from. The numerous analyses and guesses about what led to Bruce Lee's death, from heat stroke and cosmetic surgeries to problems with his kidneys and possible drug interactions, show a critical perspective of a star who might have unintentionally contributed to his own demise. Whether these theories are true or not, continues to be a topic of intense discussion and debate. They show not only the tragic end of a famous life, but also the dangerous ways fame, health, and personal choices can intersect. It's easy to wonder if Bruce Lee's sudden death was more than just a tragic accident. The official story blames it on a severe brain swelling worsened by a bad reaction to medication. However, other theories suggest that his death might have been planned, considering the intense business rivalries and huge amounts of money at stake. After achieving great success in Western cinema, Bruce returned to Hong Kong to make movies. At that time, the Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest were the top dogs in the local film industry. Any new director or producer trying to make it in Hong Kong usually had to deal with these big studios. Initially, Bruce did work with them, and his first two films were huge successes. But soon, he saw a chance to create something of his own and started to pull away from these studios. In 1972, Bruce, along with Raymond Chow, set up Concord Productions, Inc. Bruce and his family owned 51% of the company, giving them the majority control, while Chow owned the remaining 49%. This arrangement allowed Bruce to lead the creative side of things, while Chow handled the business operations. Around this time, Bruce also renegotiated his terms with Golden Harvest, but was clearly focusing on building his own company. The Way of the Dragon was the first movie completely made by Concord. Interestingly, Concord also owned 50% of the rights to Game of Death, sharing the rights to the original footage with Golden Harvest. The rights became a contentious issue after Bruce's unexpected death, which happened before the film was released. The standout project, however, was Enter the Dragon. This film was Bruce's most ambitious and turned out to be extremely successful, bringing in $400 million worldwide, a staggering sum compared to the earnings from his earlier films with Golden Harvest, Fist of Fury, and The Way of the Dragon, which made $130 million and $100 million respectively. The profit was incredible because Enter the Dragon was made on a budget of just $850,000. It's understandable how Bruce's decision to leave Golden Harvest and start his own studio could have upset his former partners. The massive success of Enter the Dragon likely added to their frustration, making it clear what they had lost. In the competitive and profit-driven film industry, Bruce's move towards independence could have turned former allies into enemies who stood to benefit from his absence. With Bruce Lee's sudden death comes sadness and a swirl of conspiracy theories and guesses about what cut his legacy short. Puzzles and betrayals in Bruce Lee's final business moves. Bruce Lee had definitely moved beyond his former business partners in terms of success, as Joey pointed out, highlighting the resentment that brewed when Bruce decided to independently produce his own films. This choice seemed to upset quite a few people. At the time of his death, there were various controversies crafted to damage his reputation, including questionable claims that painted him in a negative light, which Joey suggested were exaggerated to harm Bruce's public image. Bruce had walked away from very profitable deals with established studios to make Enter the Dragon, a decision that likely felt like a betrayal to many industry insiders. They didn't just lose a major star, they lost a significant source of income. Additionally, there were rumors about his health. Bruce was reportedly dealing with seizure conditions long before his death and was using hashish to ease the severe physical pain. He was among the first to recognize the anti-inflammatory benefits of hashish, much like how people today use ibuprofen. Raymond Chow, who was Bruce's business partner and the one who originally brought him to Golden Harvest, played a crucial role in this story. Golden Harvest and Shaw Brothers were the top contenders in Hong Kong's competitive film industry, constantly competing to attract the best talent. Initially, Bruce's agreement to work with Golden Harvest was a significant win for Chow. However, Bruce's later decision to start his own studio likely did not sit well with those who had previously benefited from his work. There may have been efforts by industry leaders to persuade him to reconsider his decision, suggesting underlying tensions and unresolved issues. After Bruce's sudden death, the ownership of Concord Productions, the company he and Chow created, dramatically shifted. Bruce's widow, Linda Lee Cadwell, sold their 51% stake back to Chow, who eventually shut the company down in 1976. This led to speculation. Was this just a business move, or was something else going on behind the scenes? The story of Bruce Lee's last years is filled with personal and professional choices that seem to challenge the established powers in the film industry. His bold decision to leave a major studio and start his own not only changed his career path, but may have also shifted the power dynamics within the industry. This saga, rife with potential schemes and betrayals, paints a picture of a man whose groundbreaking approach to filmmaking was as much a driver of his success as it was a source of controversy. After Bruce Lee's death, the business he helped build, Concord Productions, saw major changes, ultimately being sold to Golden Harvest. Raymond Chow, Bruce's former business partner, played a key role in this deal and subsequently became the chief executive of Golden Harvest. This neat wrap-up of events raised some eyebrows in the competitive and often ruthless film industry, leading some to wonder if everything was as straightforward as it seemed. Looking back at the events that followed Bruce's death, it's clear that there was a significant shift. Enter the Dragon, the last film Bruce worked on, became a classic in martial arts cinema. After his passing, Concord Productions stopped making new films, aside from a documentary titled Bruce Lee, the Man and the Legend in 1973, which served more as a tribute to Bruce than a typical film project. Reports suggest that Bruce had some input in this documentary, but after its completion, Concord didn't undertake any new film projects on its own. Eventually, the company faded away and was absorbed by Golden Harvest in 1976, after Chow took full control. The merger of Concord with Golden Harvest doesn't necessarily point to any wrongdoing in Bruce's death, but it certainly casts a long shadow over the subsequent events, given the secretive and cutthroat nature of the movie industry. It raises the question, was this just a case of seizing business opportunities, or was there something more under the surface? Furthermore, the discussion surrounding Bruce Lee's death is filled with various theories that go beyond normal industry issues. Some people suggest that Bruce's death could have been orchestrated from within the industry, noting the significant shifts in his business relationships and the financial stakes involved. Others speculate that he was misdiagnosed, or that actress Betty Ting Pei, in whose apartment he died, might have had a role in his demise, though these theories lack solid proof. Adding to the puzzle is the idea of a family curse that supposedly targets the male members of the Lee family, leading to their early deaths. This idea became more prominent after Bruce died at 32, and his son, Brandon Lee, also died young under tragic circumstances. The concept of a curse is a dramatic twist fitting for a movie, yet it captures the imagination of the public, perhaps reflecting a collective desire to find patterns or deeper meanings in tragic events. Together, these elements, strategic business moves, sudden death, unproven theories, and the notion of a curse, create a complex and intriguing narrative around Bruce Lee's legacy. His life and death offer more than just the story of a celebrity. They present a saga filled with intrigue, tragedy, and the dark realities of fame. Following in his father's footsteps but making his own mark, Brandon Lee's bright career and sudden death add to the Lee family story. The prop gun disaster that led to Brandon Lee's death. The Lee family often moved between Hong Kong and California because of Bruce's growing career in films. This unique upbringing immersed Brandon in the worlds of acting and martial arts from a young age. Even as a child, he showed exceptional talent. His grandmother, Grace Ho, once mentioned that by the age of 5, Brandon could break through training boards, and by 9, he was deeply engaged in martial arts training, just like his father. Brandon's time at school revealed a rebellious side, similar to the defiance his father had shown in his youth. Just months before his high school graduation in 1983, Brandon was expelled from the Chadwick School because of his misbehavior. He didn't let this setback stop him. He completed his general educational development tests later that year and moved to New York to further his education. There, he began to explore theater seriously and joined the Eric Morris American New Theater. His involvement in theater led to his first significant acting role in John Lee Hancock's play Full-Fed Beast. In 1985, Brandon returned to Los Angeles to focus on his acting career. His first major film role was in Kung Fu the Movie. Although he was initially hesitant to take the role, he performed well, and it launched his career in the film industry. Throughout the late 1980s and early 1990s, Brandon started to make a name for himself, stepping out of his father's shadow. He starred in a number of projects, including the buddy cop action film Showdown in Little Tokyo with Dolph Lundgren, which was produced by Warner Brothers. Tragically, Brandon's promising career was cut short on March 31st, 1993, while filming The Crow. In a horrifying twist of fate that echoed his on-screen role, Brandon was to act in a scene where his character is fatally shot. The prop gun used, a Smith & Wesson Model 629.44 Magnum revolver, had been improperly loaded with dummy rounds made from live cartridges. Due to this catastrophic oversight, the gun was not safe when it was fired, leading to Brandon's death. This devastating incident not only cut short a rising star's life, but also reignited important discussions on safety standards in film production, highlighting the dangerous overlap of real-life and fictional narratives in filmmaking. Brandon's death, echoing the untimely demise of his father, left a profound impact on the film industry and his legacy, marked by both his brilliant career and its tragic end. The heartbreaking accident on the set of The Crow that led to Brandon Lee's fatal shooting was the result of a series of grave mistakes and oversight. The special effects team, aiming to make the gun look authentic for close-up shots, removed the explosive charges, but overlooked the primers in the cartridges. Eventually, one of these cartridges accidentally fired. Though the main explosive charge was absent, the primer's force alone was enough to push the bullet partway into the barrel, where it got stuck. This mishap set the stage for the tragic scene where the gun, loaded with a blank cartridge that included a gunpowder charge for visual and sound effects but no real bullet, was to be fired at Brandon from a distance of about 12 to 15 feet. Unfortunately, the weapon was not thoroughly checked and cleared before use. When the blank was fired, it propelled the lodged bullet out of the barrel with deadly force, striking Brandon in the stomach and causing him to collapse in pain, a stark deviation from the scripted action. The director halted the scene, expecting Brandon to get up, but he didn't move. Initially, the crew thought he might be still acting or joking around, but upon closer inspection, they realized the gravity of the situation. Brandon was quickly found to be unconscious and struggling to breathe. A medic attempted to revive him, initially thinking he might have been dazed by a fall, but it soon became apparent that the injury was far more severe. His pulse was normal at first, but soon started to drop dramatically. In a desperate bid to save his life, he was rushed to New Hanover Regional Medical Center in Wilmington, North Carolina. Despite a lengthy 6-hour surgery, Brandon tragically passed away at just 28 years old, even younger than his father, Bruce Lee, at his time of death. The shooting was later determined to be an accidental death caused by negligence, with no criminal charges filed. Nonetheless, this event did not stop various theories from emerging, including the dark suggestion of a family curse supposedly haunting the male members of the Lee family, leading to their early deaths. While there's no solid evidence to support such a curse, the concept has woven itself into the fabric of the Lee family narrative, suggesting a cryptic, generational misfortune. These theories, though speculative, are understandable. The untimely deaths of Bruce and Brandon Lee were not merely personal losses, but significant cultural events that have fueled ongoing intrigue and speculation. Bruce Lee, renowned for his profound influence on martial arts and film, left a legacy marked as much by his contributions to entertainment as by the cryptic and controversial circumstances of his and his son's early deaths. Could Bruce and Brandon Lee's tragic fates be more than a coincidence? Was there a hidden force at play, or just a series of unfortunate events? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more discussions like this.